The film opens with Mark Kerr introducing himself before the camera. He is a former amateur wrestler turned MMA star. He speaks about winning fights, the roar of the crowd, and the strange mix of exultation and emptiness that follows. We then shift into early career footage. It's the late 1990s. Kerr grapples, wrestles and climbs in smaller regional circuits. His body is enormous, his technique raw but dominant. There are moments of triumph, an early title win, a brief montage of his fists raised and crowds applauding. The scene then shifts to Phoenix in 1999, where Mark waits in a hospital corridor with a stiff posture that tells you he's taken a heavy hit in his last fight. When the doctor finally calls him in, the tone turns clinical intense. The moment he's released, he heads home, where his girlfriend Dawn greets him with a soft smile and a smoothie already blended. She's used to this routine. She keeps him balanced, stretching his legs and shoulders before he even touches weights. By the next morning, the routine cracks. Mark slips into the bathroom and takes substances he knows he shouldn't. He does it quickly, the way someone does something they've done too many times to feel nervous about. Hours later he's on a plane to Japan, staring out the window with a look that says he's determined to win but already carrying a storm inside him. When he arrives and meets the event organizers, they tell him his contract isn't being renewed. The news hits him harder than any punch. He has to walk straight into interviews afterward, where reporters keep asking him about Alexandra, the fighter he's about to face. Mark forces confidence into his voice, saying he'll win because he always does, but that confidence is cracked now. The organization hosts a press conference, laying out new rules. No kicks to the head, and no headbutts. Mark listens, focused but uneasy. Elsewhere, Dawn is flying in to support him. By the time she reaches the locker room, Mark is stretching with Coleman, his longtime trainer. Coleman excuses himself, leaving them alone. Dawn tries to connect, but Mark shuts down, staring at the floor. His silence makes her wonder what she did wrong, even though he keeps insisting it's not her. But his mind is trapped somewhere else. Soon, the time for the fight arrives. Mark walks down the tunnel toward the ring, fans shouting his name. Alexandra stands across from him, steady and unreadable. The bell rings and Alexandra strikes first, testing him. Mark tackles him to the mat, trying to find an opening, but Alexandra twists free with surprising speed. The next moment catches everyone off guard. Alexandra kicks Mark while he's down. It's illegal under the new rule, and it knocks Mark out cold. The arena erupts, as Alexandra is declared the winner. Mark leaves the ring with a hollow look in his eyes. He's never lost before, not like this, and the shock breaks him down in the locker room. He collapses on the bench, hands shaking, unable to process the defeat. Dawn checks on him through Coleman, who tries to reassure her, saying Mark just needs time. When she hugs him, she wraps her arms around him as if trying to hold the broken pieces together. Later that day, she asks what's really eating at him. Instead of opening up, Mark snaps, insisting she doesn't get it. Her face drops, as she flew across the world for him, and he still pushes her away. Alexandra eventually approaches and apologizes for the kick. Mark keeps his composure, acting like it's fine, and tells Dawn to take a picture of them together. She forces a smile for the camera but clearly feels invisible. Back in the States, Mark calls his doctor and pushes for stronger pain medication. The doctor hesitates, clearly uncomfortable, but tells him he'll see what he can do. When Mark gets home, he slumps onto the sofa, restless and tense. Dawn studies him and finally voices what she already suspects: he's getting addicted. The confrontation pushes him over the edge. He explodes, smashing furniture until the room is a mess, then sits in the kitchen, silently unraveling. Later, Coleman gets a call that morning. Dawn is crying, barely able to speak, as she tells him that Mark overdosed. Coleman rushes to the hospital, finds Dawn shaken, then heads to Mark's room. Mark tries to lie, saying he just got sick, but Coleman cuts him off, telling him he knows the truth. Mark breaks again, but this time Coleman tells him he isn't there to judge him, he's there to help. Days later, Mark gathers the empty doping bottles and syringes. He dumps everything, trying to claw his way back. He then checks himself into rehab soon after. Meanwhile, with Mark out, Coleman steps into the ring to fill his spot. He trains hard, enters the tournament, and wins his first fight. While Coleman fights his battles, Mark fights his own. Months pass before Mark finally walks out of rehab looking healthier than he has in a long time. Dawn is waiting for him, happy to see him clean. To reconnect, they spend the evening at a carnival. The lights, the music, the easy laughter between them bring back what they used to have. For the first time in a long time, they look like themselves again. The next morning, Mark trims a plant in the yard while Dawn talks to him about the kind of man he is. She tells him she sees qualities in him that would make him a great father. Mark stiffens, taking it the wrong way. He thinks she's hinting at what he hasn't given her. He tells her he does love kids but feels like his career would keep him from being present. Even after everything he's been through, he still feels pulled in two directions, torn between who he wants to be and what his life demands of him. Later, Mark tries to keep things normal by making himself a smoothie, but the silence between him and Dawn is heavy. She watches him for a moment, tired of the emotional whiplash and feeling shut out. After everything they've been through, she finally hits a breaking point. She packs a bag, tells him she can't take the mood swings anymore, and walks out. A few days later, the fighting organization holds another press conference. They announce a new round of world championship matches. Cameras flash, reporters murmur, and the entire room feels like it's waiting for a spark. Weeks pass, and Mark returns to the States to rebuild himself. He joins a jiu-jitsu gym, and to his surprise, his old trainer is there. They pick up like they never stopped. The trainer works with him on tighter hits, especially the ones you throw when your opponent is already on the ground. Everything is starting to click again until the trainer suddenly screams in pain. His tendon snaps, and he collapses. Mark panics, grabs his old pain medication, and injects him. The relief is instant, which scares the trainer more than the injury itself. The next morning, Mark trains with renewed focus. He tells himself that everything from here on out has to be clean. No shortcuts and no doping. He wants to prove that his talent, not the substances, made him the fighter he used to be. Months roll by, and the new competition launches. Commentators hype up the possibility of a showdown between Coleman and Mark. Best friends in the real world, forced to fight for a massive payout. Coleman is the first to step into the ring. He dominates his opponent, dropping him with powerful punches, and the ref calls it. Coleman moves straight to the final. Not long after, Alexandra enters his match and crushes his opponent, and gets sent to the finals too. Backstage, Mark stretches, breathing slow and deep. When they call his name, he steps out under the lights. His fight is rough, but he pushes through, slams his opponent to the mat, kicks him while staying within the rules, and gets the win. He's through to the final as well. All the victors get medals and are told to come back in a few weeks for the big finish. Days later, Dawn shows up at the gym to pick him up. They're trying to fix their relationship again, but Mark's trainer doesn't like it, insisting Mark should be focused only on fighting right now. A few days after that, he comes home with a new haircut. Dawn makes fun of it, laughing, then kisses him anyway. That night, the cracks reappear. Dawn confronts him after listening to his answering machine. His friends keep telling him the same thing. Whenever he's with her, he loses his drive. She asks if he believes it too. Mark says no and begs for a quiet night, but the tension keeps building. Meanwhile, Coleman trains like a machine, and Mark barely keeps his mind in the game. The argument between him and Dawn gets worse. Mark accuses her of holding him back, saying she always wants to go out drinking instead of letting him stay focused. The words cut deep and she breaks down. He ends the relationship on the spot and tells her to leave. But instead of leaving, Dawn grabs a gun and Mark sees it just in time to stop her before she pulls the trigger. The terror on both their faces says everything. He apologizes, realizing that Dawn has her own struggles and he's been too lost in his own problems to see it. The police arrive soon after and take her to a medical facility for evaluation. Weeks pass until the final round arrives. The arena is louder than ever. Coleman walks out first and opens his fight with intensity. He beats his opponent clean and claims his spot in the championship match. Mark waits backstage for his turn, but his mind is nowhere near the ring. He keeps thinking about Dawn, about the night she almost died, and about how everything has spun out of control. When he finally steps into his match, he gets pummeled. His head isn't in it and keeps falling behind until the inevitable happens. He loses. His trainer sees the disappointment in his eyes but still hands him water and pats his shoulder before stepping away. Later, Coleman stops by. Mark tells him good luck, insisting he knows Coleman will win it all. The final match begins. The fight is intense, but Coleman powers through and takes the win. The crowd erupts as Coleman holds up the trophy and receives the $200,000. Somewhere backstage, Mark is in the shower, letting the water run over him as he tries to accept what happened. He feels the loss, but he understands it. Life didn't go the way he pictured, but he survived it. Years roll forward. Mark is older now, pushing a cart through Walmart. He loads groceries into his truck with a tired but peaceful smile. Him and Dawn later got married and had a son together. Mark thinks about the past, remembering the fights, the chaos, and the dreams. Even though he never became a world champion, he knows he and Coleman changed the sport. Because of them, fighters now earn millions, as they show the world what the sport could become. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.